The big lesson I want to talk about learning this week is what I believe is necessary to have like a balanced life as a girly pop who's trying to have it all and do it on your own terms. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to Too Smart for This. It's me, Alexis. How are we doing? It's Q4. Yeah. That's insane. So I can't even believe what's going on. I just cried today and I wasn't feeling great because I got shit going on, And I did my makeup to feel better. I have this sick lip combo on if you guys are watching. I've been using the lip stains, and then I know everyone was talking shit about the Saie lip liners on TikTok because they aren't always for deeper tone skin, and that's true. You guys know I don't really love Saie like that, but I used their brown and one of their mauve lip liners on top and this new Valentino lipstick and some gloss, and I'm feeling it. I think that something I want to lean into this quarter is a darker lip and like smokier eyes and like this blowout, this kind of look that I'm trying to give right now. Yeah, because I just feel like I want to be sexier this year and enter into that like grown woman type of vibe era. And that's what we're talking about today, is the reintroduction or sort of discussion about what I believe is necessary to have like a balanced life as a girly pop who's trying to have it all and do it on your own terms. And so I've had to do we're just getting into it today, okay? So what's been going on? I had to do a ton of self-reflection on the podcast, on Too Collective, the brand, etc., because I'm in the startup accelerator and like they're accelerating me, and I am thinking critically about everything that's going on in this business, and it's stressing me the hell out. And it's a good stress though. I talked about in last week's newsletter how when I have been going through all this, I feel a sense of peace. Like I feel like, okay, I know I'm going through a tough or a transformative time right now, so I can like sort of give myself that grace in everything I've been going through, obviously. So like I do feel like, okay, it's fine, like everything's gonna be fine, but the stress of everything I'm dealing with is still really intense, and it's like I can feel it in my body, I can feel it in everything, and I just know obviously that there is going to be great stuff on the other side of this, but it is hard to bootstrap a business on your own while you're in business school. It is hard to be an influencer while also in school. And it's also just hard to be me generally. And it's hard to be you generally. Like it's hard to be a human being and function in society. So I go back and forth in between like being stressed the hell out and sad and really bouncing back from that and getting back on the horse and getting shit done. And that's really what the vibe is right now. So just want you to know, if that's you, then cool, same, we're twinning in the same boat. But what I've been coming back to is what I originally coined as like the 4 types of rest. And this has evolved in the way that I think about it a few times. So I want to talk about it now because I want to start introducing it every week throughout the podcast and telling you guys what I'm doing to introduce that balance into my life, because I've just been noticing I'm not doing it. So I believe that there's 4 types of self-care, and they are as follows. There is rejuvenation, which is sort of doing all of the workout things, like ordering meal prep, like all of the things that are a little hard to get to do, but are still really good for you and very wellness centered. There is indulgence and pampering, which is like what you think of as traditional self-care, like getting a massage and doing a facial and doing your skincare routine at night, your red lights and all that. There's rotting, which is literally doing nothing to try to turn your brain off, because we need that in an overstimulated world. And then there is connection, which is the importance of being around people who you love, who are on your same wavelength, who you feel connected to. And connection has been something that has given me energy a lot over the past year, especially in school. But now that I've gotten to school, it's been something that I have to be a lot more discerning about, because now that I'm here and I'm also trying to, shift my priorities and focus on business, I have had to be really serious and, critical about how I spend my time. And also it's my second year, so I feel like I'm having the same conversations with people, and it's like, if we didn't already connect, then like, when are we going to connect? Like, it's really not that deep. So connection, I'm getting out of balance is what I mean to say, is that there's these 4 different areas of life, and if you don't have them in your week, plan them into your week at any point, then and you have more of one and not enough of the other, then you can start to feel a sense of discomfort. So for example, last week was a ton of connection. Like I had our launch on Tuesday. On Friday, I had to go to New York. On Saturday, I was out all day at parties. On Sunday, I went back to New York, executed our event, which was absolutely incredible. Monday, came back, went to school. Like, there was no room for rotting or for rejuvenation in any of that. And that led me to feel out of balance because, yes, I was connecting with people, but I didn't feel like I could be my best self. Like, I took forever to respond to everybody's text messages just because I was so freaking unwell, Like, I was just giving too much. And so what I think a good challenge is for myself is to ask myself how I'm going to implement all 4 of these types of rest into every week. That way I can still focus on achieving my goals and also still focus on like living my life, and also be able to have just sort of like a temperance on the type of balance that I need in order to get things done. Because Q4 is such a time of socializing that you can, and holidays and travel and stuff, that you can get really, really caught up in a very intense like wheel that just feels like you don't have any control over what you're doing. And that's not something I want to experience this year. Like, this year I really want to be on it, and I want to make the most of my last fall semester here at Wharton and in school. And like, but this time next year I'll be in New York. Like, I'll be living it up in New York, which is exciting. But if I want to do that and like not have any regrets, then I can't get stuck in a cycle where I don't take care of myself. So here I am attempting to take care of myself again. And here's how I'm going to be implementing some of my 4 types of rest this month / year. And at the beginning or end or whatever of every episode going forward, I'm going to tell you whatever I'm doing that week, because I'm trying to record these weekly so that you guys can really see and be around for what I've been learning about myself as time goes on. So the big lesson I want to talk about learning this week is that you can't be passive. I think I've always thought of myself as like, oh, like things around me just happen and you don't have a lot of control over things. And that leads you to want to be controlling things and be like a control freak and all that stuff. But it actually also creates this issue where you feel like, oh, because I can't control it, now I'm a victim, and like now I'm just going to like take what's handed to me. And for a long time in my own business, like as Two Collective and in my own career as an influencer, and even in my career at Google, I remember getting to my first day at Google and my manager asking me, okay, well, what do you want out of this experience? And I was like, what? Like, why are you asking me? Like, I just do what I'm supposed to do and like everything's going to be fine, right? And that was one of the first times when like I had done the thing. Like, I had the dream little job or whatever. I was there. And I got there and they were like, so you need to be intentional about this. And I was like, oh, don't actually know what that means. So I was very much someone who, just because I didn't feel like I had a lot of agency over my life, would just sort of react to it. And I really started making a conscious choice to be more intentional last year, and I'm really happy that I did. That's what led me to get my birth control removed and focus on my health, which led to a weight loss for me, which was really empowering. And I also was more intentional as I went on to school, went through my breakup, etc. And even after my breakup, I wasn't being intentional for a couple of months. And I learned throughout that when I'm not intentional, things don't go well. But I also feel like this like big burden of intentionality where it's like, ugh, I have to have it all figured out now. And what I've really recently learned is that like, you don't have to have it all figured out right now, but you have to make sure you're making choices consciously, because when you don't, then it feels bad on the other side. It either feels like a surprise because it's like, oh, good, this happened. I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, thank God. And then there's that other side of it that's like, oh, I wasn't thinking about it, so I can't blame myself for whatever happened. And that's the thing, is like everything that happens around us, to us, when it comes to our jobs, our dreams, whatever we want, everything that happens is because you were creating an energy that responded to that. So you can't really get away with that excuse of, oh, I wasn't being intentional and this just happened. And also, it's not as nice when you just like attribute all of your success to luck, because that doesn't help you build your own confidence. Because it's like, if you just are like, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about it, it just happened, I guess it's meant to be. That's nice, sure. But also, like, it really discounts any work that you actually put into the situation. So when we're not intentional and we're not moving from a place of, having a clear vision of what we want, then things just start to happen and we either take them and run, or we get mad and fall deeper into a victim mindset because we weren't in control, or we didn't perceive that we were in control of the situation. Most of the time we are in control of the situation, and we have to be more intentional about how we live and how we choose to spend our time, because when we're not, again, this imbalance starts to arrive in our lives and we're like, oh, what's happening? And it's like, in reality, you're not setting enough boundaries. You're not thinking critically enough, and you are not responding to what's going on around you. So that's the reason that I want to talk about all of this and the 4 different types of rest and self-care, because I really think that when we have that and we set ourselves up quarterly, especially, you guys know I love doing things in quarters, but weekly, monthly, quarterly, when we're setting ourselves up intentionally with those 4 things, then we can more easily have balance in our lives and go back to that intentionality. And also, it's just a good framework for you. So you can apply these things daily, you can apply them monthly, you can apply them quarterly, but here's how I'm doing it like this week. So for example, I was looking at my week and I was like, how much of this is connection? How much of this is rejuvenation? Rejuvenation is what I am calling the things that are good for me, like the work sessions, the workouts, the ordering groceries, the cooking, that type of thing. And how much of this is connection? How much of this is pampering? I recognize I did not have a lot of pampering going on. I haven't really been treating myself lately. I realized that I had a lot of like connection time on there, but it wasn't always as valuable as I'd like it to be. And then I had a lot of things on there that were I had a lot of impromptu rotting time that happened because I would just get too overwhelmed and then wouldn't be able to really do what I needed to do. So the first step is looking at your calendar to see if there's enough balance in those 4 things, because when there's not, like, you also know your own energetic minimums. Like, I know I need 1 day a week to do nothing, or else I'm gonna actually go insane. So I know I need 1 day a week to rot. So I have to put that in my calendar, even when there's a ton of shit going on, even when there's like deadlines, I have to rot. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be okay. And where I can stand to take a step back is more in my connections, where it's like, you don't have to be on it all the time and like go to every single party and at every single dinner and have lunch with every single person who wants to have lunch with you. Like, you can take a break from that, and that's where you need to step back. And then there's also with rejuvenation, like, that was something I wasn't making enough time for because I was so focused on working. And so rejuvenation is something that I could easily implement into my life, and then I would feel like all 4 of those quadrants were in a better place, and then also have space to be more intentional. So rejuvenation looks like, for me, at least this month/week, ordering my meal prep on WellFed, which is this meal prep service here in Philly that I have ordered once, really loved, and then completely kept forgetting to order. But it's due every Friday, and I just need to order it so that I am in a good place next week during exams and stuff like that, and I don't have to cook, because that's something that takes way too much time for me and leads me to not really be able to get things done. Rejuvenation also looks like doing 20-minute floor mat Pilates first thing in the morning. So I've struggled because I have a gym membership and it's expensive, so I feel like I have to go to the gym in order to work out, but I don't. I could just do it at home, and I can go to the gym when I feel like it. But having a 20-minute little Pilates routine straight away in the morning, I did that a couple times this week, and it really helped me because I felt like I was doing something. And also, now that the sunrise is later in the morning, if I wake up at 5 a.m. and it's dark out, I need something to really jumpstart me because I can't go on a walk. And so it's a really good way to do that too. And then you have some journaling and then you feel really accomplished. And that's something that I'm working in to my rejuvenation routine. Rejuvenation also looks like doing my skincare consistently and scheduling my doctor's appointments and going to the doctor and stuff. So I just set a timer or a reminder on my Amazon thingy this week that was like call the doctors and call the appointments. And for 20 minutes, I literally got it all figured out in 20 minutes. Like it was like while I was on a walk, like that's something you can easily do. And I got my neurology stuff scheduled. I got my laser scheduled. Like everything was fine, you know? So that was what my rejuvenation was looking like this week, and I hope that inspires you to just do something that you know you can do instead of holding yourself to a standard of, like I was, of like, I have to go to the gym and sauna and cold plunge every time I work out, because that turned it into like a 2-hour thing that I needed to physically be present for, whereas this 20 minutes of mat Pilates in the morning is something that's like very easy to do and like doesn't take away from my flow. On the next part of pampering, so this is something that I am constantly forgetting to do, but I try to do it for work sometimes too, and it doesn't feel like it is. For pampering, something that I am trying to put into the pampering category is things like eating out and like making sure that every time I am eating out, it's like an experience and something I'm excited to do instead of something I'm doing out of necessity, which is why it's important for me to have that meal prep and stuff going. And I also think of pampering as my like skincare bath time. Sometimes I put bath time into rotting time, but this like week, in order to do pampering, I am going to go to the nail salon in New York City tomorrow when I am there, and I'm going to get a full, like I have to get everything done, obviously, but I am also going to get a massage while I'm there. So I'm going to get like a little like neck massage or foot massage or something just to add, because it's already like annoying to have to go to the nail salon and stuff like that. But I want to add just something little. And that's like the small thing I can add. Like I don't have too much else in terms of pampering that I can do this week other than like my whole everything shower routine, which I feel like also falls into rejuvenation. But my everything shower routine, which I'm going to do today and maybe film for you guys. I don't know. But that's like one part that's really important to me. So that's what I'm going to do this week for that. Other ways that I would do this are booking a massage or booking a facial or booking something that's good for me, like acupuncture. That feels really good. So those are some ideas for you. Next, for connection. So if you're struggling to connect and you're in that like 9 to 5, you don't see anybody type of thing, try to schedule a FaceTime date with one of your best friends this week. I did that yesterday and it was extremely, extremely healing. Just tell your friends when you need to connect with them, okay? I sometimes like will sit and have like an hour where I just respond to all the text messages I haven't been responding to, and I like to do that. You can even do that when you're like watching a TV show or something, and that can be a really good way for you to, you know, come back into connecting with people and do it in a low stakes way that feels good for you. So habit stack that type of communication, because I think that's really effective for it. My friends like to say, like, if you're on a walk while you're or if you're on the phone while you're doing something, then it doesn't count. So it's like while you're cooking dinner or while you're on a walk, if you're doing something, then like that is like the best time to connect with people, because you could either be listening to a podcast or whatever, but connection, if you're missing that in your life, that's a really good time to do that. And finally, for rotting. So this week for rotting for me, like I really want to watch Real Housewives of New York in bed. So I'm going to New York for the weekend and I've got a hotel room for 2 nights, and it is my friend's birthday one night, and then I'm going on a very special date that night after. But I am scheduling some time in there to literally sit in bed and watch Real Housewives of New York with Thai Villa takeout in my hotel room before I go out. And that's my rotting. Like, I'm so excited for that. And I'm also like making sure that I have time to quote rot next week when I in between exams, because I have an exam on next Wednesday night, and I have an exam. But I have all these exams during this time. This is what I'm probably going to be talking about on TikTok when this episode comes out. But I am scheduling time to rot between hours of 7 and 9, and like that's the time where like I can't work during that time. I can't like it's nothing's coming out of my brain at that point. Okay, babes? So it's like, I know that's rot time, and I try to get everything else done in the morning so that I can get it all done then. So this week, that's what my 4 pillars of rest are looking like. And I just encourage you guys to think about this for yourselves. I also think you could think about this on a daily basis. In addition to my favorite journal prompts, which are, what are you proud of yourself for doing and how do you want to feel today, so that you can make sure you're going into your day with some intentionality. Write out how you're going to connect, how you're going to pamper yourself, even if it's just something small like spraying the most expensive perfume in your house, how you're going to rejuvenate, whether what's like something small like a workout or skincare that you can do for yourself. And then also, how are you going to rot? Like, how are you going to take some time and like take the pressure off? You know what I mean? So those are the few types of rest I think of, and I hope that, and I'm going to continue this series throughout the next few episodes so that you guys can hear how I'm implementing this balance into my own life. But with all that being said, life's going pretty well right now, even though it's like challenging. It is very, I'm happy, which I want to reiterate that. The new Too Chill robe is out and it's selling really well. You guys are loving it. And I am trying my best to figure out a way that we can get it customizable for everybody, which would be really amazing. And I live in it. So love that. If you do have the robe, I would love if you could leave us a review on the website. Like, it takes 5 seconds and it would be so helpful, because that really helps the business grow. And with that being said, I love you guys so much. I will talk to you next week. And don't forget that you're too smart to not love yourself. Send me ideas for what your 4 types of rest are this week, and maybe we will include some examples in next week's episode. So DM me at Alexis Barber. Love you guys so much. See you next week. Bye.